this episode of The Excursion, we return to St. Augustine and Florida's historic beaches, where I'll be challenged with paddleboarding, stair climbing, and ziplining over lagoons of remarkable reptilian wonders. And if I succeed, it's a day swimming with dolphins here at Marineland in historic St. Augustine, Florida. But if I fail, it's the crew that gets this unique aquatic encounter. Let's get started. In our last episode, we delved into Florida's history, exploring this coastline full of amazing tales of conquest and America's beginnings. We learned why these Northeast Florida shores and winding marshes remain such a treasure. We explored and enjoyed an award-winning distillery, were challenged with a little fishing adventure with the drum man himself, and took a swing at America's first island green. We now begin part 2 in exhilarating style at another historic location, and the name speaks for itself. Welcome to the one and only St. Augustine Alligator Farm and Zoological Park. It is a historic place. There's even the historic sign out there. Tell me about the beginnings of this place and why it's here.
1893, I believe, is the year it first, opened, and it used to be on the other side of the street at Anastasia State Park is where the property was, and then I think it was the 20s or 30s that they moved to this location and has been here since. It is Alligator Farm by name, but it's all about the preservation and conservation. We don't take the alligators and turn them into purses or alligator tail at snack bar or anything like that. So.
But it is pretty fascinating when you get out into that pit. There's a noise I hear sometimes, a low grumble. Tell me about that.
So what you're hearing is periodically, and it seems to happen in the mornings, that the alligators will do what's called a bellow or bellowing. It can either be a mating call or a territorial type of thing, and sometimes one will start to bellow and the other ones will just kind of start bellowing too. And it's really neat because they make a subsonic sound at first, and then it does rise to the pitch that you do hear with our ears. And males and females can pick up on that, and they can tell about how big another male or female is, about how far away they are. Neat that you got a chance to be able to see that live and in person.
Well, you all have a whole different aspect here, crocodile crossing and the zipline adventure.
So yeah, it's awesome that we have a ropes course and zip lines. So we have swinging bridges, cable crossings, swinging logs, things like that nature, along with zip lines to go along with that. So
zip lines.
Yes.
Over alligators, over caimans, over crocodiles, and over...
Gharials, which is the other type, yes.
Yeah, long pointy snout.
You got it.
That is such an experience. I mean, you're not going to fall into a pit of gators.
No.
Even though it's fun to imagine for other people having
Sure.
me do that, like Wes was hoping. This experience was one of a kind. Some zips were short, some were long. And Wes and Craig were down there rooting me on the whole time.
Coming at you, Wes.
Or rooting against me. Regardless, it's the sheer exhilaration of what you're actually doing and just having this conversation piece in your back pocket that makes this excursion challenge so darn incredible.
And he knows I'm here.
It is pretty fascinating to say I ziplined over gators.
Sure. The zip line's fun in of itself, and as a bonus, yeah, you're going over all 24 species of crocodilia, which is one of the only places in the world is at the Alligator Farm that we actually house all that in one location.
That's about, 12-footer?
Maybe 9 or 10 feet.
We'll call him 12.
The excursion's all about challenges.
Yeah.
You have a less challenging course and a more challenging course.
Our shorter course is our Sea-Pick course that has a total of 9 zip lines and 17 obstacles for a total of 26 platforms. And goes to heights about 30 feet. On average, usually takes guests around maybe 45 minutes to an hour to go through. The course that you did today was our Nile course.
Nile, got it.
It's the longer of the two. That one has a total of 17 zip lines and about 27 obstacles. Goes to heights about 40 feet. On average, when guests start, usually takes them around an hour and a half to 2 hours to go through.
Some of my favorite little challenges here.
Little ropes course.
And you still gotta get a little bit of courage up to do that jump. 'Cause
Yes.
you're not hanging, you just gotta jump, and you have 2 points
Correct. You have your pulley plus your safety hook. And what's neat about our course, we have what's called a continuous belay system. Just meaning once you start, you do stay connected to the course the entire way throughout. At no point can you ever disconnect. So it's probably safer than driving your car down the road, to be honest with you.
You still get that adrenaline rush every time. You go over parking lots, go over the alligator pit, and right through the treetops.
Yes.
See the bird?
Saw the bird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's neat to hear everybody say that you get a really different perspective when you're up there and you're looking down and you see the size of these alligators.
New Guinea crocodile.
It's different from looking at them head on. You get a true appreciation of how large these creatures, animals really are.
And I'm out. Gonna miss my safety harness.
Touchdown. Now your safety's up to you.
There's the security. Alligator farm. Zip line over the alligators, over the crocs, over the caimans. Challenge complete, Wes.
You look tired.
Nah, that's, yeah, I'm tired. They had water fountains, though. That was great. Did you get some water, Wes?
No.
All right. When we return, we explore the natural beauty of one of historic Florida's hidden water-based gems and climb its iconic lighthouse in preparation of a perfect St. Augustine sunset.
Florida. It's so good to see you again. Nice castle! But you're going to need a moat. I'm very, very fascinated by this ice cream. It's delicious. You're also going to need loopholes in the towers. Did we get it all? Oh, gracias, señorita.
Nice boat.
There's always something new to discover here on Florida's historic coast.
You should see my castillo.
After flying over lagoons of gators, it's time to take on an activity that's more in that Zen category. Let's head to the sandy estuaries of St. Augustine's Anastasia State Park for excursion adventure number 2. We drive a few miles, all of a sudden, we're at this beautiful estuary.
Yes,
We're in the middle of nature.
in the middle of nature, right in St. Augustine. We have 1,600 acres here, a variety of different ecosystems.
I see these beautiful dunes here, but there's a whole nother world on the other side.
There is. So here at Anastasia State Park, we have over 4 miles of pristine beach, and it's all natural and a beautiful place to go on a walk. You can go all the way up to the inlet and not even see anybody. You can also rent a bike down by the beach, and we have an amazing campground.
And this is a very important part of the whole nesting process for the whole ocean.
We're here at an estuary, and we're going to be exploring that today. And within the park, we're a very important place for a variety of wildlife, to include different endangered species as well. We have nesting sea turtles that come up. We also have the endangered Anastasia beach mouse, which is a little mouse that's endemic to this island, which means you can only find this mouse at Anastasia Island.
Tell me about Anastasia Water Sports.
So Anastasia Water Sports is an amazing place to come and experience the outdoors because you can rent kayaks, stand-up paddle boards. They offer a variety of interpretive programming, so you can bring your family and friends and learn about all of our natural resources that is within the park and the St. Augustine area.
All right, now I always have challenges. I could try not to fall off of the paddleboard. Is that a safe challenge for this?
Yes, absolutely.
It's more about soaking in nature, I think.
Yes, you'll do great.
All right, thank you so much.
Ah, Craig, he's always there. You just don't be recording if I do fall in. We'll fix this.
I'll record it. Don't worry.
When you hit the water here, it's like you've stepped into a different world entirely. And that's the magic of this place.
There's also a lot of fish around here. So if you look down in the water, you're going to see those fish. Sometimes the fish make an appearance and you don't even have to look down in the water. We've got a lot of jumping fish in the area. A lot of little fish will jump if something larger than them is chasing them from below. And then we've got mullet here who will jump not to get away from anything, but they're just trying to dislodge the mud and the gunk that gets caught in their gills when they're down at the bottom.
That's why they jump.
Yeah. So when you're down at water level in your kayak or on your paddleboard, you are at the same level as those fish as they're jumping around. So that's pretty neat. If your neck gets sore from looking down at all those amazing animals, look up, because the bird life around here is spectacular. So no matter where you look, you're going to be really rewarded with some great wildlife.
Once you arrive in the mangroves, you notice that the water is smooth, and even smoother the deeper you go. I even spotted a couple of turtles cruising around, doing a little hunting.
Oh, there he goes. He went like 20 miles an hour. I didn't know turtles were that fast. That was crazy.
This is a special spot indeed. Now, we never spotted any alligators during our paddleboarding journey. This adventure was all about those less intimidating critters. But maybe we'll eye them again from a bird's eye view. And no higher spot around than the historic St. Augustine Lighthouse and Maritime Museum, the site of the oldest permanent aid to navigation in North America.
The lighthouse is 165 feet tall. The platform that we're on right now is 140 feet high. This is the second lighthouse. There was a building right over there, about 300 yards away. It was known as the Old Spanish Watchtower, and it stood for about 143 years until this lighthouse replaced it in 1874. St. Augustine Lighthouse has a unique, what we call a day mark. Every lighthouse has a different marking on it. The St. Augustine Lighthouse has a black and white spiral stripe that goes to the red here. It's very similar to the Cape Hatteras Lighthouse in North Carolina, which is the nation's tallest lighthouse. The St. Augustine Lighthouse's day mark is a black and white stripe with a red top, where the Cape Hatteras Lighthouse has the same black and white stripe, but it actually has a black top. So that's how you would tell the difference if you were a mariner out at sea and you came up over the horizon and you would see this lighthouse, you would know you're off the coast of St. Augustine. We have this beautiful, unique first order Fresnel lens. It puts out at night a special night mark. The night mark here for the St. Augustine Lighthouse is a fixed white light, and then there's 3 panels in there that produce a beam of light. So if you were out at sea, you would see a fixed white light, and every 30 seconds you would see a beam or that flash of light come around. No other lighthouse along the East Coast has that particular night mark. The major building right directly in front of the lighthouse is the museum today. It used to be the lightkeeper's house. That is a 2-story brick structure. It has a basement. So that is a major piece of buildings here that we have on the site.
How many stairs does it take to get to the top?
There are 219 steps.
You seem in pretty good shape. You do it quite often.
I do it quite often here, yes.
All right, so the historic St. Augustine Lighthouse is 218 steps. They do have places where you can rest, but my challenge is to go all the way up, walking, of course, without stopping. And that's a long way up.
There's 8 landings. As you climb, you can stop and look out the windows and take in the magnificent view, and you can take your time on your way up. Once you get to the top, you have a 360-degree view of St. Augustine. You can see downtown, you can see Volano Beach to the north, and you can see St. Augustine Beach to the south. I like how unique this is. We are one of only about a dozen lighthouses in the nation that still has their original first order Fresnel lens that still operates. We are an operating lighthouse, so the light does come on every night. To me, it is a crown jewel along the coast of St. Augustine.
2 minutes, 15 seconds. Challenge, though, was to get up without stopping. That was tiring, but fun. Look who else made it. With your gear. Ah, you may have earned yourself a reward. Oh, thank you. Glad to see.
Florida. It's so good to see you again. Nice castle! But you're going to need a moat. I'm very, very fascinated by this ice cream. It's delicious. You're also going to need loopholes in the towers. Did we get it all? Oh, gracias, señorita.
Nice boat.
There's always something new to discover here on Florida's historic coast.
You should see my castillo.
Paddleboards, iconic views, and ziplining over gator-filled lagoons is just a taste of this second St. Augustine excursion. So after a brilliant sunset from the top of the lighthouse and a good night's sleep, we woke up the next day and embarked on a red train trolley tour. And these fancy locomotives are hard to miss.
Now right across the street there is our Castillo de San Marcos, the Castle of St. Mark's, or as we call it, the fort.
You see, these cute information-filled trolleys and knowledgeable tour guides take you to many of the key sites all over the historic district.
When Florida became a state, there were two capitals. There was here and Panama City, St. Augustine and Panama City. When they decided it became one big state to have one capital, they had a horse race from here and from Panama City, and where they met up, that was where they made the capital, Tallahassee.
From the gorgeous architectural marvel that is Flagler College to a genuine step back in time along Avila Street, the oldest existing street in North America dating back to the early 16th century. As you stroll the rest of the historic district, you'll discover a variety of restaurants, shops, and living history museums that line the streets. But it was a particular hotspot a few miles up the Talamado River that tempted the crew and me for our final St. Augustine meal. Welcome to Caps on the Water.
Caps on the Water, established in the early 1980s as a little fish camp. It has really gone up in scale, as you can see. We've had 2 acres on the intercoastal here. Everybody comes from all over Atlanta, New York, Pennsylvania, South Florida, West Florida, just to come and eat here. These live oaks here that we have, we will not cut them down. They're a staple of Caps. I mean, it gives us a canopy, keeps the heat in the winter, it keeps it nice and cool in the summertime, and it's great to come out here and you dine under here and feel like you're in like the old St. Augustine. Pretty much a staple that anybody who vacations here, they make this the spot they have to come to. Families have been coming here for generations and generations. I mean, my wife played on the tree when she was a kid. The tree, it's a cedar tree that was on the beach here. Kids come here, they can't keep them off the beach. My kids come here, they're on that beach for an hour at a time, getting all sandy, getting wet. It's just part of coming to Caps. It's like an instant babysitter right there. The food brings people back to Caps. If you go for our appetizers, you're gonna have to do one of our volanos. It's Thai chili garlic on our shrimp. It's a little spicy. We put it over fried spinach, top it with Asiago cheese. Our tuna is fabulous. What could go wrong with a nice raw piece of sushi grade tuna? Every fish we get is pretty much coming from here. I put my money in that you're not gonna find a better, fresher fish in this area than getting it from these clean waters that we have right here.
And fittingly ending another adventure-filled day was a colorful sunset over the back river docks of Caps. And we weren't the only ones taking this one in.
The colors that come with the storms that roll in, it's just a different view that you'll never get anywhere else. It's unbelievable.
When we return, it's reward time with Roxy.
Florida, it's so good to see you again. Nice castle! But you're going to need a moat. I'm very, very fascinated by this ice cream. It's delicious. You're also going to need loopholes in the towers. Did we get it all? Oh, gracias, señorita.
Nice. There's always something new to discover here on Florida's historic coast.
You should see my Castillo.
It's been one historic adventure after another, so why not cap off this St. Augustine excursion with a reward venue that has a little history of its own? Welcome to Marineland, the country's first oceanarium.
Marineland first opened up in 1938, and the original name was Marine Studios. And the reason they called it that was because the original purpose of the habitats that they built here were to be an underwater film studio at that time. And so they wanted to bring in lots of different animals from the ocean to place those cameras right in front of the windows, and then film footage for TV shows and documentaries and movies that were filmed back in, the 30s and 40s. We opened up to the public as well because they said, hey, we're not going to end up filming every single day, so we'll open up to the public, we'll charge $1 for general admission, and people can look through the windows, while we're not filming. On opening day, so June 23rd, 1938, 30,000 people tried to show up at Marineland. And so very quickly the founders realized, hey, maybe we actually have something here. It's not just a film studio. People are actually really interested in checking out some of these animals. For a lot of the people at that time, unless you were, a fisherman or someone else that actually worked off of the coastline, this was the first time that you were ever seeing any of these types of animals. We actually had the world's first successful dolphin birth right here at Marineland. And, that carried on to wanting to learn a lot more about them. We started to realize, hey, maybe we can actually train these guys. And so they actually hired an animal trainer named Adolf Fromm, who came over. He worked with Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey Circus. Well, within the first year of him working with a dolphin named Flippy right here at Marineland, he trained Flippy 6 different behaviors, and Flippy became the world's first trained dolphin.
Tell me what people can come see now and why they should come visit Marineland.
People can come out here to end up viewing. We have sea turtles, sand tiger sharks, and then of course our dolphins that you can all see within the different habitats that we have outside. And we also have what's part of our behind the seas tour that we end up offering to all of our guests. So they'll be able to walk through that behind the seas space, go through our museum room, learn a little bit about that history, starting all the way back in 1938, all the way up until now.
Talk about this dolphin adventure.
Guests can end up getting in the water. You're in the water for 30 minutes with those dolphins.
Oh, she's gonna check you guys out. You checking them out?
And we split it up between both shallow and deep water during that swim adventure program.
Good job, you can let go. Good job, you're a pro. Toss it.
Oh, I overshot.
All right, how's your
I knew you couldn't do it, David.
Oh, the sig, no, that did failure. Oh.
And so you get to end up meeting our dolphins up close and personal, get a lot of nice poses for some pictures.
Oh yeah.
And then you get to go out into the deep water and do what we call a belly ride. And so the dolphin will come up, they'll circle around you, and then they'll lay on their backs, you hold on to their flippers, and then they'll pull you through the water.
Amazing. You had the perfect dismount.
That was very cool. Pretty special experience with a special being. And since I was feeling all emotional, I decided it was only fitting to let Craig take a ride for himself. Craig, would you like to do this? You see, an experience like this is just more special to share than to explain. It's a region full of firsts for America. From historic streets to oceanariums, St. Augustine and Florida's historic coast offer a unique blend of preserved history and modern-day adventures. Excursion complete. See you next time.